Lauren Boebert has been out of the headlines for the most part ever since she won her very strange reelection campaign. Just a quick reminder, she knew she wouldn't get reelected in her own district, so she carpet-bagged her way to a different district, pulling off a win that was already unlikely even in the new, deeply red district. But since securing herself a seat in Congress, she has been keeping a relatively low profile. While her co-firebrand, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has been starting fires and feuds with none other than the president himself, Boebert hasn't been doing or saying much of anything.
There are so many members of Congress who come here and enrich themselves. And I don't know, just throwing this out there, we have a Republican member of Congress who is resigning after the 5-year mark of serving here in Congress. But it's also when we're forcing legislation to ban stock trading. So I don't know if those coincide at all, but it's something that makes you wonder.
Now we're getting some idea of what she's been up to. And of course, it involves spending money on things the money was never intended to be spent on. First of all, you need to know that Boebert is allegedly dating Kid Rock. She's 38, he's 54. Not that that is a significant part of the story. Love is love or whatever. But back in May, Boebert attended the Rockin' Rodeo in Arlington, Texas, an event that was hosted by Kid Rock. She posted a photo with Kid Rock on her social media, and it seemed that that was that. However, questions as to how she got to Arlington and who paid for her trip started to crop up. Federal Election Committee data shows that 3 days after the event, the Republican representative's campaign paid $2,455.83 to Live by Lowe's, a hotel in Arlington, Texas, as well as $925 worth of event tickets to AT&T Stadium. Like her alleged boyfriend couldn't just get her in for free. But obviously, this is an FEC violation because candidates are not supposed to use campaign funds for non-campaign events, and it is not clear how attending a Kid Rock event after she's been elected was a part of Boebert's campaign. She is not currently up for re-election. The gossipy bit of this is that Boebert and Kid Rock were seen sharing a cab together in the middle of the night last February, following a Turning Point USA event. A month later, Kid Rock broke up with his fiancée of 7 years. Neither has confirmed the relationship, but Kid Rock has become something of a staple within the Trump circle, even visiting Trump in the Oval Office. Now he wants to be the first performer to break in Trump's new ballroom. Here he is on Fox News, defending Trump's ballroom and offering some perspective for those who are upset about the legally dubious destruction of the entire historical East Wing of the White House.
Kid Rock is here. All right, Kid, we're hearing from sources that you might be the one to be the first to play in the big, beautiful ballroom. Is that true?
Man, I hope so. Ball till you fall. That's what I say.
Can you believe people are getting this worked up over a ballroom?
Well, I've heard all the talking points like you have from the left wing, especially the media, which is, this is the people's house. That is correct. That is the people's house. And guess what? We, the people, elected this man overwhelmingly to be in that house. And he's going to build a big, beautiful addition. It's not going to take any of the taxpayers' money to do it. And thank God, if he's going to sidestep a few regulations, which I don't know that to be a fact, but I wouldn't be mad at him. I've built some things and trying to get things done with I can only imagine the regulations if he tried to do it all exactly by the book. And be like, all he has to do is say, we're going to put in a gender-neutral bathroom, and they'll be like, oh, we love your ballroom idea.
That's all he needs to do. And then they'll be dancing the night away.
But a few $1,000s doesn't even seem like much of anything these days. Politicians get away with far worse all the time. Sometimes stories about the gross mismanagement of funds or unethical payments, sometimes worth billions of dollars, hardly make a blip. For example, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, whose private equity firm, Affinity Partners, took in $1.5 billion from Qatar after Kushner served as Trump's envoy to the Middle East during his first presidential term, really wasn't as big of a story as it should have been. Jared Kushner never solved the problem of peace in the Middle East as he was promised to, but he did manage to make himself a billionaire with Middle Eastern money. Now Kushner is back in the news as his firm is investing in Paramount's hostile takeover bid of Warner Brothers Discovery, something the president has a personal interest in. According to Paramount's SEC filing on Monday, which detailed the company's $30 per share public offering for Warner Brothers Discovery, Affinity Partners, the firm led by Kushner, has made investment commitments to the proposal. In fact, the filing revealed that Kushner's group was part of last week's bid that was ultimately rejected by Warner. Affinity, along with the sovereign wealth funds from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, have agreed to forego any governance rights, including board representation, associated with their non-voting equity investments, according to Monday's filing. The Middle Eastern Public Investment Funds were also part of Paramount's original Warner bid last week. Of course, this is a much bigger story, as Netflix is also involved, as well as several tech billionaires and media moguls. However, Trump is very much in the middle of everything here. Now, he wants CNN to be sold as a part of the deal, something that could potentially lead to Netflix dropping out of the bidding war. Netflix doesn't want CNN, just Warner Brothers Discovery and HBO. What would Netflix, a streaming platform, even do with CNN? If this is a real provision, then Paramount would likely walk away with the deal. And the CEO of Paramount, David Ellison, son of Oracle CEO and Trump backer Larry Ellison, assured the president that he would make sweeping changes to CNN, similar to the changes currently being undergone over at CBS. So who can be mad at Lauren Boebert for spending a few $1,000s she should not have spent when things like this are going on? Or when insider trading is still a thing? Or when AI data centers that pollute and consume exorbitant amounts of water and air while driving up electric bills for the locals who never asked for the technology in the first place are being built to support an industry that, again, no one asked for, is currently unprofitable, and is designed to benefit only a handful of already rich individuals. It's practically impossible to focus any attention on something like $3,000 spent by a congresswoman who has become increasingly inconsequential. We've got bigger problems to worry about besides Lauren Boebert and Kid Rock, even though what she is doing is illegal. She's just not doing anything illegal enough. We, the people, have to preserve and protect our energy, but the crux of the matter is that our laws have come to mean very little. Corruption is hardly enforceable whenever the greater system has itself been corrupted. But considering Boebert serves a local demographic, perhaps the people of her district will eventually vote her out of office. That would be a really easy win for the American people, albeit an unlikely one. She's got some Democratic challengers for her seat, but as I mentioned, her district is still pretty solidly red. Still, she caught more flack for her lack of decorum in a theater than she did for anything she actually did to harm her constituents or the American people. Democrat Eileen Laubacher, a congressional hopeful going after Boebert's seat, is optimistic that this will have a negative impact on Boebert's future electability, telling the Daily Mail, "Americans are tired of the circus they're seeing from Washington, with politicians spending more time focusing on flying around, going to concerts, than passing solutions to lower costs." Are Americans actually tired of this circus, though? Many still support the circus. Many others have just tuned it out. I'm not convinced that we've hit a fever pitch yet, and I don't know what'll do it if it hasn't happened by now, but I worry that we're starting to lean more toward apathy and disconnection rather than action, which was the goal all along. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.